Just explain in real terms what any of that actually means if you're a Twilio customer. What do you get access to with this generative AI tool?
Well, specifically, this Google partnership is a new partnership to help bring generative AI and predictive AI into the contact center. So by combining Twilio's Flex contact center product with Google's CCAI, we can now automate a wide variety of interactions in over 30 languages to provide real-time, intelligent, automated interactions to customers. So for example, Toyota Connected is one of our customers. There are millions of Toyota and Lexus vehicles on the road where if you hit the button and say, I want to ask for directions, for example, that's a completely automated experience powered by Twilio Flex and Google CCAI integrated together to provide that complete automation. And this is just part of Twilio's newly announced customer AI initiative that we announced yesterday. And customer AI is really the intersection of all these new capabilities of generative and predictive AI and combining that with the customer journey. And every company has this journey as a customer progresses through sales, marketing, service, inside the product, that companies are trying to connect together to create a cohesive and relevant experience for those customers. And what Twilio can do is bring generative and predictive AI to the table to help connect each one of those experiences based on the segment profiles that we have living inside of Twilio about each one of those customers.
Jeff,
and so we're really excited to get this out there into the market this week.
How are you ensuring that people feel comfortable as and when they're being serviced with so much more, effect? People worrying about their data, wondering about how companies are owning it. How are you ensuring that this isn't going to, yes, bring productivity, but also a lot of pushback at the same time?
Absolutely. And people should be concerned about privacy and data security, as well as the effect of large language models and AI on many of our experiences. And that's why we have, first of all, only partnered with or partnered with AI companies, so language model companies that are going to preserve the privacy and integrity of our customers' data and their customers' privacy. Second is using that data only in the context of that one customer in order to make that experience better. Now, we are all accustomed to this as a net positive as customers of companies who do it well. Think about Amazon or Google. Your and my Amazon homepage are very different because Amazon uses all the data they have about us, like what we clicked on and what we scrolled past, what we bought, what we didn't buy, in order to make that product better. And what we're seeing is now every company out there, because of privacy, needs to actually take their own first-party data, so that stream of data about what do people click on, what do they buy, what do they not buy, and turn it into insights about that customer that then can make them smarter and provide a better product and customer experience. And that's what Twilio is providing to companies.
What's interesting, Ed, is, of course, amid what is a macro environment that is cloudy, to say the least, a lot of companies are out there talking about AI effectiveness, and actually feels like quite a busy space. It's got to be about the actual underlying technology here, Ed.
Well, that's the question I have, Jeff. I get the Google Cloud relationship. It's long-standing. When you build the product into your existing platform, where does the underlying technology come from? Is the foundation model from Google itself and what they've been working on with the broader company? Was there a temptation to go to OpenAI and build something on top of GPT 3.5 or 4?
Well, Google is the first of several partners that we are working with, and we'll be announcing more over time. And I think that, look, there are going to be the right models for the right use cases. The one common thread among every vendor that we are working with is the fact that we are only going to work with vendors and models where we can control the flow of data and where we can ensure that data remains belonging to our customers, which is the most important thing. And look, I think every large language model vendor, I think every AI vendor out there realizes that businesses are going to want to control this. They need safety and security around these models, and they need a human in the loop for most of these use cases to make sure that as the AI is doing greater and greater workloads, we've got great checks and balances on the work that they're doing. And so that's what Twilio and I think many other software as a service companies are doing to go create viable products out of the raw capabilities of a language model.
I referenced there, Jeff, that in amongst all of these innovations, new product launches, partnerships, is a macro environment that is tougher. It's been tough to your company in terms of market cap, in terms of share price. I'm sure you got pushback and say, I don't look at the share price, but ultimately your investors do. And I know that there's someone thinking about activist investors at the moment as perhaps some of the control that you've had ultimately in voting rights seeps away a little. How are you tackling that at the moment, Jeff?
Well, look, we've always been a company that is looking at the interests of our shareholders and operating the company in the interest of our shareholders by talking to the shareholders and understanding what they want. So during the era of low cost of capital for the last decade, right, we ran the company to grow the top line, to build our market share. And I'm really proud of the company that we've built in terms of a $4 billion revenue run rate company during that period of time. Now we're in a different environment. Now we're in an environment where we take that market leadership position that we're in, that large customer base that we're in, and turn it into a profit generating machine. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And I'm really proud of the fact that over the last 2 quarters, we have taken a company that has never historically generated a consistent profit, because that wasn't the goal, to now generating more than 10% non-GAAP operating margin in Q1. And so I think we are listening to those investors and taking substantive actions to respond to the changing needs of investors based on the changing needs of the macro environment and interest rates.
Jeff, specifically, the information reported that you're talking to Legion partners. What is the update on that? And I notice in the proxy materials published yesterday, the first 4 slides outlined the structure, effectiveness, track record of the management. That's an unusual thing to do. Why did you do that?
Well, we talk to all of our investors frequently, and right, we get a lot of opinions, we get a lot of points of view, and so it's just a regular part of talking to our investors of understanding their points of view. Regarding the disclosures we made yesterday, we just wanted to fight a little bit of, I think, misinformation or lack of understanding of some of our decisions about how our compensation model has worked as we head into the proxy voting season.